first thing that had to be done was to find they'd gotten big enough to need a building. So he said the first thing that had to be done was to find a piece of property. I was looking all around, but no one wanted to sell us anything. I finally came across some property in the city limits, which is about 5 acres, but it once had been used as a dump. I talked to the owner, Mr. John Yost, who was a real estate man, and he agreed to sell it to me. I had to take pictures of the property to send to headquarters of the church in Salt Lake City to have it approved. I took pictures of the property, okay, but it was not it. It was next to it because the land wasn't very attractive with the junk on it and all the weeds. I knew, though, the potential of the property because of the cattle grazed land next to it. I had to send a picture of myself as well, and because I hadn't had a good picture taken lately, I sent one of my military pictures. Well, now that everything had been approved, we could finally move forward and buy the property. The amount was $2,500, but the problem was that we didn't have enough money for our half of the purchase. At that time, the church paid half of the cost of the property for church buildings. Mr. Yost agreed that he would make a deed of trust to me and give the church the deed showing it already was paid for. I would pay him $50 a month at 5% interest until it was paid off. Mr. Yost moved and took the responsibility, and I took the responsibility to pay that note off. When the final payment was made to him, I received paperwork back and noticed that he had passed away in Arizona. I will always be grateful to Mr. Yost and what he did for us. There was a lot of trash on the property, wire, tin cans, bottles, and anything else imaginable. We worked every day that was possible to clear the land and to finally have a beautiful piece of property ready for building. And beautiful it was, for it turned out to be one of the best locations in Rye, with a beautiful view of the Greenhorn Mountain behind it, and was within the city limits, and so we were able to have city water.
I agree.
Yes. So the next step was to receive the plans so we could begin construction, and this time church members donated the labor, and the church would match the building funds gathered by the church members. So members of the branch sacrificed their own time and money when it was very tight in order to have the building built in Rye. They took on money-making projects that all men, women, children participated in, such as a chicken project, and I bet that smelled so good.
What they're doing, there was a family that owned a bunch of chickens that they sold eggs, and when they got too old, the chickens got too old to produce well, they butchered them, and so the branch took on the project of butchering about 500 chickens and dressing them out. And that's what those sweet, smiley ladies are doing. That's my Aunt Jessie and May Grimes and Aunt Opal and Aunt Jessie right there.
I'm sure they probably may have fun doing it.
Oh, I'm sure they were
smell
just
good,
good.
but I'm sure when you work together, it's fun. So then we had a groundbreaking, and that was on June 26, 1963. And President Gardner came out, and he did one of the shovelfuls of dirt, and Hiram Mead also did too. So let's see. Where am I at? So, another kind of interesting thing is that 11 days before this, do you remember the Broadmoor building in Colorado Springs? So 11 days before this groundbreaking was the groundbreaking for that Broadmoor Chapel, which became our stake center. And so
I was going to say that the members of the ward did the actual building. They sent a man from Texas. His name was Thomas Sherrard. Yeah, his wife and grandson came, and he was the building supervisor, and he told everybody how to work, and the women were there usually during the day, and then the men after work would come at night, and they would work late into the night. And then they'd go home and start their day the next day with going to work, and then
they would work all day Saturdays too. Yeah.
Tom Sherrard was a good friend of my parents.
Oh,
yeah,
really? How neat.
Small world.
It is a small
from
world.
Corsicana, Texas.
Yeah,
So-
Texas, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
They, they would have meals provided and things, by the sisters and things.
And, we
Usually-
didn't have much money, we ate a lot of beans,
They
a lot of
ate
beans. And Brother Sherrard said he never saw so many beans in his entire life. He ate rye.
Except Bev told me a story that her brother Jim told her that he must have been a little boy. And he was here for lunch one time and they brought out hamburgers, which was different, but they were raw.
Never heard it before, but he's, just this weekend.
I can't
He told
imagine.
me.
Yeah, and he says, I looked at Dad and said, what do I do? And Dad said, just eat it.
They blessed it first. Apparently nobody got sick. Somebody said that they were better for you that way, I think is what you said. Yeah, not now, by any means. So then the work began, and, can't see where I'm at, okay. So, yes, Brother Sherrard was the building supervisor, and something kind of interesting about this, and I don't know if anybody knows who the electrician was that anonymously did all of the
Somebody donated
electrical.
their time, I can't remember who it
Yeah.
was.
Somebody from
And it was
Pueblo.
a member of the church somewhere, probably Pueblo, came from
Yeah.
Pueblo.
But didn't want other people to really know that he'd done that.
So how'd they get that picture, a drone?
My dad climbed a tree. Didn't take that picture.
So, yeah, they had a drone.
I didn't have John around at that time.
Okay, this is Betty Golly.
Oh, really?
She had to do this while everybody else had got to eat lunch.
Oh, that girl.
They were gonna put the plates on the foundation, and so while everybody's eating their lunch, my dad made me sweep the entire perimeter. And I had blisters when I was done, but I did my part.
So these are just some pictures during the construction.
They drew
They had
the
to
well.
drill the well, yeah.
And the well has a lot of iron in it.
Yeah, which we don't drink.
We don't
Think
drink
of
it, yeah. That's why everything's orange outside.
The side
Because of that well.
rocks are.
Luckily, we have city water we can drink.
Yeah.
And there's just another picture during construction, and that's Ray Mead.
And this is the primary section.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the Sherrards.
Yeah.
It's a real grainy picture, but that's what we had, so.
The very beginning, it took the multicultural, the multi-purpose room down that hallway to the bishop's office.
That was the first.
That was
That
the
was the
end.
first,
Right
yeah.
where the bishop's office is.
Mhm.
And that crazy, planting place we have that's.
That was the front steps.
Right there.
I think I've got another picture though of the front, well, somewhere I have a picture.
You can see it,
There they are.
Yeah.
That's where that planter is. That was how we got in and out of the church.
Somebody said the biggest problem they had, they couldn't break them, because they were so full of rebar.
They
They
were
were
so
so determined to make it so good, they could never move the rebar out there, could not break it up, so they went ahead and just made it.
Oh, wow. So,
That's why we got a planter out there.
the dedication service was on November 8th, 1964.